It is time for me to take a trip to New York City. I'm just joking. But speaking of New York City, today I will be reviewing Scream 6. Now, instead of Woodsboro, we are now in New York City, which I think is a fantastic setting for a Scream movie. Because, like, who doesn't like Ghostface running around in New York City? I mean, that's really fun, right? Right? But, anyways, I will be reviewing this fantastic movie. Now, yes, I absolutely love this movie. I think it is so cool. It's in New York City. And what's even better is instead of the classic Ghostface mask, we have like an old Ghostface mask, which I think is pretty cool for this movie. I just love everything about this movie. It is amazing. But the only thing that is kind of kind of a disappointment is that Sydney is not in this movie, unfortunately. So, yeah. But don't worry, Sydney will be in Scream 7. But hey, at least we have Gail in this movie. Hopefully she's not that nosy anymore. But anyways, let me review Scream 6. Of course, we have to open up with a phone call, but this time it's not Ghostface. Because, well, Ghostface is not on the phone. At least not yet. Now, this opening scene, of course, we gotta have an opening character, and it is Laura. And I think Laura is a cool character for this opening scene. I also love when Laura, opens up her phone. We get to see a nice little dog. Oh my god, I love animals. It kind of sucks that Laura gets to follow Ghostface's rules and, goes outside. Why would you do this, Laura? Are you, one of those dumb characters? Never follow Ghostface's rules under any circumstances. Of course, we do get a crazy kill in this movie, which I think is a pretty cool kill, not gonna lie. It's pretty crazy, I must say. Then, of course, we're gonna get a title card. Wait, what? This is not a title card after all? Well, I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's pretty cool that we get to see blood on Ghostface's mask. I never get tired whenever there's blood on Ghostface's mask. It looks pretty cool to me. Wait, what? Wait, what? I know, right? It's pretty surprising we get to see a killer right off the bat in an opening Scream movie. Wow, this is pretty surprising we get to see the killer right off the bat. And sure, why not introduce this opening Ghostface killer? This killer's name is Greg, and I think he's a pretty cool character, even if, well, of course he's just in the opening scene. Oh, wait a minute. I think I just made a mistake. His name is actually Jason. Wait, did I say Jason's name before? Yeah, I think I accidentally said Greg. Well, you can definitely tell, like I said in the last video, I do not, script dialogue, which is kind of unfortunate. Yes, his name is Jason, and I better not make any utter mistakes in this video, or else I am going to crash out. It's cool Jason Takes Manhattan is on the TV in this movie. Of course, the real Ghostface comes up and kills Greg. I am so glad we get a title card with New York City in the background. It just looks so cool. Oh my god, I love this movie. It's nice to finally see Sam back again. Because after all that trauma, you are probably going to need a therapist, and you're probably guessing, who is the therapist of this movie? Dr. Stone. Yup, his name is Dr. Stone, and he is the therapist in this movie. And I'm not a big fan of his character, but I think Dr. Stone is okay, at least. It's a good thing Sam has locks in this movie, because you do not want Ghostface coming after you again. And, of course, I am going to have to, talk about Scream characters. So, let me get to them. First off is Quinn, and I think she's a pretty cool character. I mean, there's not much about her in this movie, but I do think Quinn is still a pretty cool character. And of course, we have Annika, which I think is a pretty cool character. And yes, she is like dressing up for Halloween because this movie does take place around the spooky month, which is actually October. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows spooky month is October. Okay, now enough talking about Halloween. Let me talk about the rest of the characters. And of course, we have this other character named Ethan, which is pretty sus throughout this whole movie. And we also have this other character named Danny, not to be confused from, well, Danny from The Shining. And I do think this character, Danny, is a pretty nice character. I hope he does not get killed off in this movie. Well, you're just gonna have to wait and see, and find out for yourself. And it is good to have Mindy back in this franchise, even though she was, well, in Scream 5. But it's just so good to have her back in Scream 6. And it's also nice to see the character Chad again, because I think he was such a great character in Scream 5, and even better in Scream 6. And of course, we gotta have Tara back again, because I think she's still a pretty great character in Scream 5 and Scream 6. Even if she was spending most of Scream 5 in the hospital. But it's okay, at least she doesn't have to deal with being in the hospital again in Scream 6, so yeah, that's pretty nice. I feel bad that Sam is getting hated on by these other people because she does not deserve this from the other people. Because apparently lots of people think Sam is like the Ghostface killer. Oh my god, these people. I feel bad for Sam at this point. Now, I do kind of like the apartment in New York City in Scream 6. I think it looks pretty cool in my opinion. But of course, Sam does get another call from Ghostface, just like Scream 6. I like the scene where Sam and Tara go in the bodega, and I also love when Ghostface is out in public, because like he's usually in Woodsboro, but this time he's like in the city, New York City, so this is pretty crazy that he's just getting like random people. Yeah, I think this is a great scene to show you that Ghostface can go like anywhere in New York City. And I also feel bad for this random guy, even though if I don't know his name. Oh my god, I love this movie and this scene. It's so intense. Oh my god, this is the best scene and the best Scream movie. Well, one of the best Scream movies. I love this movie so much. And this scene is really disturbing because, like, you do not want to get caught by Ghostface and really suspenseful. And it's also great that Ghostface has a gun in this movie because usually he always has a knife, but it's great to change up, like, the franchise, like, with his weapons and has a gun instead of a knife. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, in my opinion. But, of course, sooner or later, like, Ghostface catches up to Sam and Tara, but thankfully Sam and Tara get away. So, yeah, good for them. And they also looked pretty stressed out. I don't blame them. I would probably be stressed out at the same time if Ghostface was chasing after me. And of course, Sam and Tara meet up with this other guy named Detective Bailey, and I think he's a pretty cool character to this movie, Detective Bailey. And he is also the father of Quinn. You know, Quinn, the character I introduced around the beginning of this video. Finally, we get to finally see Kirby! You know, Kirby from Scream 4. Also, I'm very happy Kirby survived Scream 4. Because, like, I'm just so glad she's in such a fantastic Scream movie. Oh my god, it's finally time. I'm so glad we finally get to see Kirby again. This is so amazing. And apparently she is an FBI agent, so that's pretty good. It is finally about that time to see Gail Weathers back in the Scream franchise. Now, sure, her attitude probably didn't change because, well, I mean, she's getting pretty rude to Sam right now. But, yeah, that's Gail for you. But at least we get to see Gail. I am still a little frustrated we don't get to see Sydney, but it is what it is. At least we get to see Gail in this movie. And finally, we get to see Sydney in Scream 7. But I'm not talking about Scream 7. I'm talking about Scream 6. So let me go back to this review. even if I am reviewing the movie right now. You get what I mean. Anyways, moving on. Now, one more negative about this movie is that I do wish Gail would have some more screen time in this movie because she is one of my favorite screen characters of all time outside of Dewey. Dewey was the best. It's a shame Dewey died in Scream 5. But like I said, Gail is one of my favorite characters, and I do wish she did have a little bit more screen time. But hey, it is what it is. Also, Gail looks a little depressed in this movie. I don't blame you. I mean, Dewey did die in Scream 5, so I don't blame you if you're still depressed, Gail. And of course, we do get another scene with Dr. Stone eating his food and watching the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And if you look very closely, you get to see a Dead Meat VHS tape. Now, yes, Dead Meat is a YouTube channel, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're missing out. Of course, Dr. Stone dies by getting his head bashed multiple times from the door and then getting stabbed in the nose. Ooh, that has to hurt. I do like the scene where Kirby is like talking about the other Ghostface killers in the past. It's kind of like cool, like I almost say Ghostface. I mean Kirby's definitely not Ghostface, but like I think it's pretty cool that Kirby is like talking about the other Ghostface killers in the past. So that's pretty cool. And Detective Bailey looks pretty mad about that. Or, well, I don't know. Maybe he's happy and he's just mad in his mind, or I don't know. But moving on. Unless Detective Bailey is the killer. I mean, I'm not going to tell you. You'll just have to find out. Maybe he is, or maybe he isn't. Okay. Of course, Mindy has to explain the rules of a horror movie. I mean, horror movies, I should say, because, well, Mindy just loves explaining rules. And Sam just is like, I'm done with these rules. And Annika is like, I'm getting bored of these rules. And Quinn is like, can you stop talking about these rules anymore? Yeah, all three of them just look, really confused, to say the least. And, of course, Ethan looks really suspicious, as always. I mean, I usually say, like, most of the characters are suspicious, but it doesn't mean they are the killer, or maybe they are. Well, I mean, of course I'm not going to tell you, because we're not done with the review just yet. Okay, now let me stop talking about suspects, okay? Let me talk about more of the plot of this movie. Well, I should say the next scene of this movie, which is still technically the plot. But anyways, let me go into the next scene. And apparently Chad is going to call Sam, Mindy, and Tara the Core Four, which includes him because, well, there are four of them in all. And I think that's a pretty okay name if you're, like, having a group or something like that. I feel bad that Danny is like trying to help his friends, but they're not like answering him. Well, it makes sense the windows are closed and they don't hear Danny. But thankfully, Danny does call Sam. But I just feel so bad for him because they're not like answering him. And like he's just trying to save Quinn from Ghostface. It's really crazy. And I also think it's goofy that Ghostface just leaves and shuts the door. He's like, bye, see you later. Oh my god. But no, this isn't comedy Ghostface anymore. Like clumsy Ghostface anymore. This is serious Ghostface. Just how I love a crazy Scream movie. And speaking of serious, Quinn is dead. So, womp womp for Quinn since she's already dead. And then Ghostface goes after the others in the apartment, which I do kind of like. It's really intense. Yeah, you can definitely tell Ghostface is so serious right now. That's what I love about this movie, is that Ghostface is just so dark, and he can just, like, kill any of the characters. He's just so crazy. That's why I just love this movie. Oh my god, this is the best movie. One of the best Scream movies, in my opinion. Alright, and then I should probably stop saying that, even though if that is true, in my opinion. I love this scene because it's just like such a height from the apartment. And then like Danny like brings a ladder. And Danny, why do you have a ladder in your apartment anyways? Like what are you even using the ladder for? Like where did you even get it from? That's kind of confusing, not gonna lie. But of course Sam like is on the ladder, which looks pretty terrifying, not gonna lie, and suspenseful at the same time. Sam makes it, which is pretty good. And then Mindy makes it too. And then we have Annika, which is crossing the ladder, which is probably the most craziest scene ever. Because as soon as Ghostface puts down his knife, he's gonna pick up the ladder so like Annika can fall down. And not gonna lie, when I first saw this in the theater, I thought this was so intense. And honestly, this is definitely my favorite kill in the whole movie. It's so crazy. It's really crazy. And I also feel bad for Annika and Mindy because it seems like Mindy was her friend. But of course, she dies in a crazy way. So, yeah, this is definitely my favorite kill in the movie. No doubt about that. I'm glad that the other characters are recovering from that, like, suspenseful scene from, like, earlier in the movie, which was pretty crazy. So I'm glad that the others are recovering. And I also feel bad for Detective Bailey because he looks pretty sad after Quinn died. I mean, yeah, if that was your daughter, then I would definitely understand. So yeah, I feel bad for Detective Bailey. I'm glad to see Gail and Kirby reunite again. That's pretty nice. I'm also glad that the other characters are going to this shrine with too many Scream Easter eggs from, well, past Scream movies, which is pretty cool. I'm glad we do get a little talk with Kirby and Tara. I think that's pretty nice because, sometimes you do need to talk about, like, what happened in your life because, I don't know, sometimes you feel lonely or something. I don't know, man. I'm not a genius of it, but I'm just glad they get to have a little talk with their characters. I'm also glad that Gail gets to talk about Sam, of like everything that happens, and like Gail's trying to make Sam happy, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, it's always nice to see Gail talk with other characters. I'm so happy that we finally get a call from Ghostface and Gail, because surprisingly, this is the first time Ghostface has ever called Gail. Of course, we gotta have Ghostface wiping off his knife, and then we finally get to have a chase scene because Scream 5 did not even deliver a chase scene. Well, it had a little chase, but this one is way better. This chase is so intense. And honestly, when I saw this in the theater, this chase scene, I was like so pumped already because this chase scene is by far one of my favorites. I mean, like, it's just so cool seeing Gail running away from Ghostface, and like Gail defending herself. But of course, after Ghostface is like banging on the door, Gail defends herself with a gun. Finally, Gail. We then do get a jump scare, and then Gail gets stabbed in the shoulder, which has to hurt, not gonna lie. And then Gail gets stabbed in the gut, which definitely has to hurt. I don't know how Gail can survive all this, but lucky her, all the Scream characters do actually survive stabs. Well, not every Scream character, but some Scream characters. And then Gail gets up, and then she grabs Ghostface's knife. And then after that, as soon as she raises the knife up, she gets stabbed again. This cannot be the end of Gail. This should not be the end of Gail. This is already giving me flashbacks of Dewey's death. I mean, I know Dewey did die in Scream 5, but I was positive Gail would like die in Scream 6. But no, Gail does not die in Scream 6. She just gets saved by Sam and Tara. Now, I am glad that Gail did survive because I almost thought she was gonna die. But don't worry, if you're a Gail fan, then she does survive. Well, one way or another, she does survive. And then Gail will end up in the hospital. So yeah, you'll definitely see Gail in Scream 7. Of course, Danny walks up, becoming suspicious. And then the rest of the characters set a plan to get Ghostface. I am glad to see other people dressed up as famous, like, horror icons. I'm glad to see, like, horror icons dressed up. And also flashing lights warning, as you can tell. Because this subway is gonna have lots of flashing lights. And yes, this is confirmed that this scene is definitely taking place on Halloween Day. As you can tell, October 31st. I do feel bad when Mindy is like worried. You can definitely tell that this is such a suspenseful Scream movie. And then soon enough, Mindy gets stabbed by Ghostface, which has to hurt. And it sucks that no one else is paying attention on the subway because, well, this is New York City for you. Yeah, I feel so bad for Mindy, but of course she survives, and of course I will prove it to you because honestly, how do some of these characters survive getting stabbed? This makes no sense. I mean, some survive, some don't survive. So yeah. Of course, the other characters will go to the shrine to defeat Ghostface. And it's kind of a genius idea that Sam does not want Danny to come with them because Danny is not from Woodsboro. He's from New York City. Well, at least that I know. And Danny seems pretty cool about that because everyone's a suspect and you never know. Danny could be the killer. Alright, alright. Seriously, enough talking about suspects. I should actually focus more about getting this over with. Anyways, I feel bad that Chad gets to be stabbed, but he ends up surviving this. But how can Chad survive all of these stabs? This just doesn't make any sense. But hey, at least Chad gets to survive, which still makes not that much sense because, like, that just doesn't seem possible. But, yeah, apparently he survives that, Chad. And then Kirby comes out of nowhere, which is pretty suspicious. Maybe Kirby was the killer. Or maybe not, because, well, she wasn't the killer in Scream 4. But speaking of killer, or killers, I should say, let me reveal them, shall I? The first killer of this movie is Detective Bailey. I know, right? I mean, that's kind of surprising. But yeah, it is Detective Bailey. But something else crazy about this movie is that there are not two killers. There are actually three killers, which I think is pretty genius, not gonna lie. So yes, Detective Bailey was the killer. And Ethan was, of course, the second killer. But we pretty much knew it was Ethan because Mindy expected it, and I'm pretty sure everyone else expected it. So, yeah. And the third Ghostface is Quinn. I know, right? That's a shocker because, well, she did die. Well, actually, she did not die because she faked her death earlier in the movie. I know, right? That's quite a surprise in a Scream film. I mean, Roman did fake his death in Scream 3, so, yeah. But I wasn't expecting Quinn to be the killer because I actually thought she did die. But yeah, turns out she did survive. So yeah. And you're probably wondering, what is the motive of these killers? Well, the motive is, well, they were Richie's family. You know, Richie, who was the killer in Scream 5. So yeah, they apparently want to get revenge on, like, Sam and Tara. Well, anyone who killed Richie or, like, messed with him since he was the killer in Scream 5. I mean, I guess that's a good motive for a Scream movie. So, good job, I guess? I am glad to see that the killers have, like, Ghostface masks from, like, past Ghostface killers. That explains why the masks look, like, so old. Yeah, seriously, they are very crazy killers. I feel bad when Tara, like, is slipping down the railings. Like, this is very crazy. I mean, I would be afraid to fall, too, because, I mean, I wouldn't want to fall while there's a bunch of Ghostface killers. But as soon as Tara falls down, wait for it, there we go. Tara then gets revenge and then stabs Ethan in the mouth, which is, gotta hurt. And then Quinn gets shot in the head. So, yeah, that's crazy. We do have one last Ghostface killer left. So after they all fall down, Detective Bailey does get a call from Sam, and then after all of that, Detective Bailey gets stabbed by Sam wearing the Ghostface costume. Then Detective Bailey dies from getting stabbed in the eye, which is pretty painful, not gonna lie. And then Ethan comes back for one last scare, as always, because you always gotta have one last scare in a Scream movie. Then Ethan dies from a TV on his face, a reference to Stu Macher's death from the original Scream. Then after that, Danny comes and apparently reunites with Sam and Tara and Kirby, which is pretty nice. And I'm also glad that Danny survived this movie because, not gonna lie, he was one of my favorite characters. Kirby survives, which is a good thing because she is also one of my favorite characters. So that's good. Kirby survives. Chad survives, of course. And Mindy also survives, which is pretty nice. And then Sam looks at the Ghostface mask for one last time in this movie. And then after that, the movie ends. Yay! And yeah, this is the end of this movie review. Now, I gotta say, but I absolutely love this Scream movie. I think it was perfect, 100%. I mean, just taking place in New York City, that's pretty cool. And I cannot wait for Scream 7. And yes, I will review Scream 7 in the future. I for sure will. So, yeah, that's the end of this movie review. I have nothing else to say except that this movie is very fantastic. So, yeah, let me just wear this goofy looking Ghostface mask. And, yeah, I'll pretty much leave.